there is a real spirit and togetherness amongst the players, but we do need to start transferring performances into better points return.
Nigel, clear to see an improvement in recent performances. Is it only a matter of time before that translates into points, do you think?
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, we've been... the players have worked really hard, and some of our performances have been really good of late. Not always picked up the points that we would like, but yeah, progress is, I think, happening now. Always more visible, but it's still frustrating that we can't turn some of our better performances into wins. But yeah, it'll come.
How do you, as a manager, rationalise, well, obviously encouraging signs, particularly, say, the first half against Preston, but that frustration at what was ultimately the end result?
Well, for me, it was a good performance right the way through the game. I mean, they had to do something at half-time because we totally dominated them. I don't feel that we got a great deal of credit after the game from their perspective. I think they talked up a bit about how they improved, but didn't give us a lot of credit. I thought in the second half we continued to be really dangerous on the counter-attack as well. So, you know, it was an interesting game, and for the most part, a really good performance from us. But yeah, I think the end of the game is another frustration for us. But the players are applying themselves exceptionally well, and I'm pleased about that. We had, you know, it's one of the benefits of having a small squad in one sense, that there is a real spirit and togetherness amongst the players, but we are also very thin on the ground numbers-wise. So it's always touch and go. We're doing okay, but yeah, we do need to start, if you like, transferring performances into a better points return. But yeah, if we keep doing what we are doing at the moment, that will come.
It's quite hard to replicate the end of a game situation in training. You can obviously prepare for scenarios. That being more streetwise, killing teams off, is that a mental thing, or is that just scenario planning for every eventuality?
Maybe a bit of experience as well. You know, so I think one of the big things, and you could apply this to almost any profession, is people who learn quickly tend to get on better. And I think the proof will be in what happens here on in. So yeah, we do have players who are at full stretch at the moment, you know, because they're playing in the Championship probably for the first time. And sometimes decision making is it's not about ability; it's about ability to make good decisions. But it is about that decision making that becomes the key factor. And so I think what we'll continue to work in the way that we have done, and that is not overcoach, try and give feedback and give the players the opportunity to continue to learn, and I think that's the most important thing. We do have some talent. We don't have a balanced squad, but we're aware of that, and some of the players who are currently not available, it would be good to get them back sooner rather than later. But we just deal with the situation as it goes along, and I think our fans at least can see that the players are very committed and look like they're enjoying playing football as well, which they should do. So yeah, small steps, but it's important to keep moving in the right direction.
You brought Tim Closer in, who's very experienced at this level. From what you've seen, you talked after the game about how he looked assured and didn't look as if he had not played for 6 months or whatever. In terms of being around and about the place as well, will he have a big influence, you think?
Yeah, yeah. Curtis, we was he was talking to me today, and he said that yesterday both Kurt and Dell were talking, and Dell had said to him that he's like the Pied Piper. So I think the players recognise that they've got a player in the building with a lot of experience who is a different character. But I think when you have players of his ilk, what it does do is they are the best coaches. Good players are the best coaches. And if you've got experienced players on the pitch, especially with the defenders around him, I think they will benefit from Tim's experience too. So, but I just want Tim to succeed for himself as much as anything. But yeah, he's a part of. I'm really glad that we're able to get somebody in, and we needed some cover in the sort of defensive areas, and his role is to play, but also to help other players too. So I'm glad to get him in.
And I suppose one of those younger players who has been in the building for a couple of years, but not a lot on the pitch, is Robbie Cundy. And I suppose if you keep him fit, he's a big guy. It'd be nice to have him in the team.
Well, Robbie's had a very tough time, and I'm really pleased that he was at least able to make his debut for us last week. He will, we will need to protect him still. He's, even though it's not just a case of he's recovered from a pretty bad injury, we now have to make sure that he gets exposed, or the right amount of exposure football-wise. But he's actually got quite a lot of experience in terms of appearances. So I think he's got a reward for all his hard work and patience. So let's hope he can feature for us between now and the end of the season, because he's a good defender.
I think you warned us not to be on the edge of our seats for the transfer window, and it was quiet. You brought Tim in. In terms of potential interest in the younger players, Noah, Alex, Antoine, the fact that there wasn't a lot of suggestion that those guys might go from us, is that a good statement of intent? And do you feel that a group of young players like that is something to build on?
How do I answer that? Look, the deadline day, I came in here for 10 minutes and shot off, because I got no intention of, I didn't think we were going to do anything. And there was speculation about players going out, but the bottom line is that we want to try to get the balance right between developing our team moving forward, but of course our financial restrictions will dictate at some point whether we can keep our players or not. I mean, look, there's no point telling lies about it. We of course would love to keep our best players, and I think it's also good for our fan base to see that we are trying to produce our own players. We've got quite a few local lads in our squad, which is unusual in the modern game. So I think it's trying to get that balance right, and certainly we've got a number of players in the first team squad now who have made progress over the last period of time, and I think that's very exciting. It's also good for the club and our community, because we are getting local players through the system who are actually featuring for the first team. So, all those things are, in an ideal world, are great, but of course the reality of our situation will kick in at some point, which is why it's important in transfer windows like we've just experienced that we don't waste money. We can't afford at this moment in time to waste money on players who we're not sure whether they're going to be good enough or whether they're going to make us better. So that's why we have to manage our current situation with a lot of care. We've got to get ourselves through this next period of time and still make improvements on the pitch. Now, that's not always easy, but we can do it.
And one of those young players, local lad, Eamon Benarous, we took him to the Downs the other day from where it all began. For a local lad like Eamon, and perhaps the message it sends to young footballers in the Bristol area, how important is it that he's committed and he has, we've shown a lot of faith in him with a new contract?
Well, look, he's a talented player, and made his debut for us and played very well when he's been in there. So he's got a bright future in the game. But of course, this is the start of the journey now. So the academy time's one part of the journey, but he's started on another one now. And the first team environment is it's pretty ruthless. So it's important that we help the players negotiate their way through what is an important part of their career. But firstly, he is a talented player. He's actually a very bright young man too, but he's got a tenacious side to his nature too, and that will be very important because he broke into the side. He's not featured very much recently, but his time will come again before the end of the season. There's no doubt about that. So this is where, though, for us at the moment, in terms of what we are as a team, this is where there is a bit of, there will be inconsistencies because we are putting young players with not a lot of experience into the firing line, but I'm confident they can all deal with it.